Hey everyone, welcome to VL Astrology. I'm Vanita Lenka. I am a Vedic astrologer and I use SIDEREAL ZODIAC to predict. So today I'm going to be talking about the year 2021. This is a series that I'm going to be starting wherein I will be explaining about the outer planets. What exactly are the outer planets going to bring us all? And this is part one, wherein I have analyzed and have come to the conclusion that Rahu is the winner in the year 2021. And I have all my reasons and explanations. So before I get on to my explanations and what exactly is this Rahu going to be doing to all the 12 ascendants, I would request you to subscribe my channel and hit the bell notification as well. And do like and share so that others can also get the benefit out of this video. So what is this Rahu? These are the 2 points. Rahu and Ketu are just the points, and they are called the nodes of the moon. And Rahu is the head, and Ketu is the lower half of the body, which is the headless one. Rahu is a materialistic planet. It is illusion, delusion, and confusion. Material growth, yes, we can anticipate when Rahu is well positioned in our horoscope. But Ketu is suddenness. It breaks in whichever house it sits in. It detaches you because it's the lower half. It doesn't have the head. It doesn't think. He just wants to rise. He wants to rise towards emancipation, to spiritual growth. And it detaches you from the worldly desires as well. These are two opposite energies. At the same time, they complete each other. That is why they are just 180 degrees apart from each other and right opposite to each other, 7 houses apart from each other as well. I have made several videos on Rahu Ketu. If you want to understand what they do to all of us and what do they mean, you can watch my videos on Rahu Ketu in the separate playlist section. I have made several videos. They cause eclipses also. So I have made videos on eclipses and I have shared my views and a little bit of knowledge that I have through those videos about Rahu Ketu. How do they impact us all? Rahu Ketu energies are, it's similar to that we cannot see our enemy. Still, we have to combat them. It's like a mysterious energy. Wherever Rahu sits, you have that desire and obsession towards that place. And wherever Ketu sits, it detaches you from those desires. It allures you. It is illusion. It gives you desire to multiply things. He wants immediate results. He's very quick. At the same time, he's like a snake who wriggles and sniggles. He cannot see. He brings about results in a very slow manner, especially in Rahu Dasha. You become more obsessive. If at all Rahu is forming any kind of connectivity with Moon, that person becomes very anxious, very moody, very changeable. At times, we see that it brings about imbalance also. Rahu is a foreigner, and Saturn, on the other hand, is very, very composed. There's a lot of gravity in Saturn. Wherever Saturn sits, he wants you to work harder. He wants you to finish off the task. Saturn is in a movable sign, and Rahu is in a fixed sign. And why am I talking about these two energies? Because people must be thinking that Saturn is the winner. Saturn is in its own zone. Even Jupiter is weak there. And you must be wondering that why Saturn is not the winner of the year. Now, the reason is that Rahu is looking at this zone. I do take the aspect of Rahu and Ketu. They do work. In my predictions, I use them and they really work wonders. Now, Rahu is in the Taurus sign owned by the Daitya Guru Venus. So he's very comfortable there. Ketu is in the zone where Mars rules Scorpio sign. Ketu is very happy in Mars' sign because it said Kujvat Ketu and Shanivat Rahu. Now here, Shani Rahu are similar kind of energies. People say that. And they are happy in Venus's signs. But here, when Rahu, who eclipses the luminaries, that is the sun and the moon, he has the power to even mellow down the energies of or afflict the other planets as well. Because Sun is the most powerful planet in the zodiac. Now, here, when Rahu, who eclipses the Sun, is getting more powerful because he is going to be looking at the Jupiter as well as Saturn, the two slow moving planets, because Saturn is the slowest, changes signs every 2.5 years, Jupiter every year, and Rahu Ketu every 18 months. So we have to assess the whole year forecast is decided based on these four planets. Now, here Saturn is in its own sign. Babies born during this time would have the Sasha Yoga. People will be thinking that Jupiter being there is also forming a Nicha Bhanga. Definitely, Jupiter is forming a Nicha Bhanga, but it's not having the potency to give the results because Jupiter and Rahu are in mutual aspect to each other. Now, that will mellow down the impact, the negative impact of Rahu. But at the same time, people will become lazy because Rahu energy is mellowing down Saturn's energy here. Saturn is slow, delays, and Rahu wants quick results. Rahu doesn't want to wait, is very restless also. Restless as in like the people who have Rahu in their horoscope, powerful Rahu, they will be wanting results very fast. And Saturn delays. That is Saturn's results. Of course, if it is not in retrogression, depending on that as well. Now, if you have Saturn placed in your chart in Capricorn as well, then you will become very slow. You will become lazy. You don't want to do things the right way. You want to make quick money. All this is Rahu influence on Saturn. Masses will get confused. Saturn is in the nakshatra of Sun. So the authorities are going to suffer. Authorities worldwide, they're going to suffer because Rahu is actually impacting all the planets, because Rahu is becoming the most powerful. It has the potency to give the results even more. Negative, positive, definitely from person to person, it will vary. If you're running through the dasha of Saturn, if you're running through the dasha of Jupiter or Rahu or Ketu, you will feel the impact even more in the year 2021. So you have to be prepared for certain things that I'm going to be sharing with you in the 12 zodiac signs ascendants predictions. Stay tuned and do understand that this Rahu energy is going to enhance the people who are in artistic spheres, who are very ambitious for their goals. Set your goals. And the ones who want to travel overseas or want to have connectivity with the overseas people. So this will bring about the connectivity, the bonding stronger. But you must remember that this is Rahu is illusion, delusion, and confusion. You will be confused the whole year long in a way, what to do, what not to do. Decision making will become very difficult for you at times. You will be on crossroads. Depending upon your natal chart, I repeat, these are all general rules that I'm sharing with you. So please don't think that it is specific. Definitely, it will impact you the similar way, but their intensity will vary. Okay, so stay tuned. I'll be sharing with you what exactly is in store for the 12 ascendants. All right, for Aries people, I'm sharing this North Indian chart. You can make a note of the planetary positions next year. They will be changing though. Jupiter will be changing sign, of course, in April. So Jupiter and Rahu are influencing each other till the time Jupiter is in the sign. But yes, Jupiter is impacted by Saturn because it's going to be in Saturn signs only. So again, these spheres are a little negative for Jupiter to give the results, as we say that Jupiter is a benefic. So the benefic influence is minimized because of the negative houses he's in. So here Rahu, if you can see, is looking at Saturn. So this will bring about some problems in your career front. It can give you confusion there in your place, at your place of work. You can have problems with your colleagues, with your co-workers often. Mars is going to be joining Rahu in February also. So your Lagnesh is also going to get afflicted that time. So Rahu is actually afflicting most of the planets. And there is a Kaal SARPA of the Rahu Ketu axis predominant. All the planets are in Rahu Ketu axis. I've made that video as well. So you will have some problems regarding your career. You will not, it's like delays and frustrations at the place of work. There will be hurdles, and maybe there will be a career change, undesired career change as well. So you be careful while making decisions regarding your profession this year. Rahu is not good for your relationship also, because it is in the eighth house from the seventh. So that also brings about some confusion in your relationships often. But yes, it is good for your financial growth, because it is, first of all, for Aries people seated in your second house. And it is also looking at your sixth and the 10th house. So this is kind of a good placement for this Rahu, because it is going to give you some kind of relief there. You can have problems related to your loans, debts, diseases. Take care of your health, because Rahu is looking at your sixth house zone. So no loans, no litigation you should get into. If you are expecting some help extended from your known ones or your friend circle, or your father, as a matter of fact, so this will be a problematic phase. Your father might be having some problems in the professional career growth, or some change is coming which is not a desired change, or maybe he's going in for some voluntary retirement. So that can also happen. You have to take care of your father's health. There can be some loans or litigation for your father also, which can be anticipated, especially in the beginning of the year. So Sun will be also transiting through all the zodiac signs one by one, and will be coming back to Sagittarius by the end of the year. So you have to be taking care of your father's health when Sun is transiting through the sign of Taurus, and when Sun is transiting through Virgo, as well as Capricorn. So this will bring about some changes related to your father, some defamation. So take care. Because whenever Rahu sits and sees Sun is name and fame, reputation, father. So that brings about problems in all these areas. So you have to be taking care of a couple of things. So this will give some complications and troubles to your spouse, to your partner, some health related issues, and troubles in your marriage also. Maybe the family of the spouse is not compatible. They have clashes, or your family or their family have clashes. Not a good period to initiate a romance also. I would suggest lie low. Because till the time Jupiter is in the 10th house, there is protection. The moment Jupiter moves into the Aquarius sign, then the problems get even more. They aggravate. So be careful. Being innovative, being ambitious is good for you, but don't go overboard in anything. Rahu will take you overboard. So you have to draw a line before making any major decisions, I would request you. Okay. Coming to the next sign, that is Taurus. All right, for Taurus people, Saturn is your Yogakara Graha, because it holds the rulership of the ninth and the 10th houses. So the Kendra and the trine houses are uh, related, and Saturn is transiting one of the trines also. So it is a very positive transit of Saturn. But at the same time, when Rahu is looking at this Saturn, it's losing its potency here, because Saturn is in your ninth house. So in case you have to change the place of work, or you have to expand your business or something, this Rahu is going to be obstructive. You will be over ambitious. You are obsessed about your own appearance. All that is quite likely even more when Rahu is in your first house. Post April, these energies will actually overpower your emotions. So you have to be very careful. If at all in your natal chart also Rahu is very strong, then this Rahu is going to be impacting you even more. You have to be careful that do not change or do not go overboard in your investments during this year. You will be very confused to make decisions regarding your overseas journeys, your connectivity with your father, with your siblings, with your neighbors. You can have all these clashes, and in your love life also there will be a lot of confusion, and you will not get support from your partner also. In case you have to make decisions regarding property related issues, that can also create some problems. Make sure that in travels you plan everything well, because Ketu is in the 8th house from the 12th. So you have to be taking care of your health, your lower abdominal region. This can bring about some issues related to those as well. Coming to the next sign, that is Gemini. All right, for Gemini people, Rahu is transiting your 12th house and is going to be looking at the Saturn posited in the 8th. Till the time Jupiter is in the 8th house, there's a lot of protection. But the moment Jupiter leaves and comes to the 9th house zone, then there can be a lot of confusion. Maybe you are having some health issues. So your confusion increases with Rahu's aspect on the Saturn as well. Two malefics, lot of influence, lot of negative influence, I would say. So you have to be careful about your health, first of all. There can be some problems related to your mother's health also. Take care of your mother's health. Any decisions regarding real estate would be disputeful. So be careful while making decisions regarding your real estate issues. You can have problems related to your fixed assets, problems related to your siblings. Maybe the disputes crop up because of the siblings. Rahu is going to be in three nakshatras, Mars, and then will be transiting through the nakshatra of Moon and then Sun. So Rahu afflicts Sun and Moon, eclipses them. So there can be problems related to your financials also. Good if you are not in the country or the place where you're born. The more you stay away from that place, the rise is better next year. So it's better that you move away from the place of birth and think about multiple sources of income, because you can't depend on one source of income as of now when Rahu is afflicting. So be careful about your investments throughout this year. Make decisions wisely. From the fifth house, Rahu is transiting the eighth house. So this can also bring about some problems to the children, or children might be going away from their place for higher learning, higher education. Maybe they join the university and they have to travel and go and move place. From the 11th house, Ketu is transiting the sixth house, which is the eighth house from there. So there can be problems amongst the friend circle, problems in investment. In case you have to go in for some kind of litigation, loans, debts through your friend circle, do not depend on them. This will bring about losses, heavy losses, and can be stressful for you. So you have to be careful while making decisions like these also. Little better for you when Jupiter goes into the ninth house after April. So you, if at all you have to make decisions regarding your travels, your journeys, you should be making once Jupiter transits your ninth house. So I will be making videos off and on, so you keep yourself posted. But this is the video on Rahu aspecting Saturn, basically. How is it afflicting you? So it is afflicting the area of the eighth house, and it is going to be giving you some health issues. So be careful. Coming to the next sign, that is Cancer. All right, for Cancer people, this is a little tough year for you because Rahu is looking at this Saturn in your seventh house zone. Jupiter is here till the April month and will be going to your eighth house again. So I'm not seeing less of affliction happening during this year for you. Ketu is in your fifth house, so there will be problems related to your friends, in your romance, in your marriage also. There can be some problems related to your partner. First and the foremost is be careful about your investments. There can be that you are very confused. There can be sudden gains also during this Rahu transit. But you have to pick and choose the right kind of time periods so that you don't lose the money, big time money. Health is a major issue. There can be problems in the real estate matters also. You've purchased a property, there is some dispute that comes up, documentation, you're having problems. Suddenly, some issues might crop up because from the fourth house, Rahu is transiting the eighth house. So this brings about problems there. Problems, health issues to your mother. Okay, maybe some undiagnosed kind of a disease. So be watchful about that as well. From the 10th house, Ketu is in the fifth house, which is the eighth from itself. So this also brings about problems and confusion or break in your love life or relationships. You have to be extra careful. Do not get overly attached to the person, that if this relationship breaks, it is a big time heartache. So be careful. This can bring about these kind of energies, depending upon your personal chart also. You're very emotional kinds, because Cancer sign is a very emotional sign. You can have problems even more as compared to others. So I think you should be focusing more on thinking rather than the feelings. It will help you. Saturn delays and frustrates also. So things are not looking that great at the home front. With the family, you will have some problems. So make sure this Rahu energy is not confusing you that to that extent where you lose all the things, all the good things in your life. So be careful. Next year is little tough for one and all, I know, but yes, we have to sail through this together. Okay. Coming to the next sign, that's Leo. All right, for Leo people, Rahu is in your 10th house. So there's a lot of confusion at the place of work, but at the same time, it gives you elevation as well. In the 6th house, Saturn is there. Rahu is looking at this Saturn. So it can give you some problems related to your litigation, loans. There can be some confusion, delays, frustrations in those areas. So be careful if at all you're feeling that you're not feeling healthy. There are problems in the knees, in the, in the pain, in the lower abdominal region, you're having pains. So you should get your examination done from time to time. Your siblings can have problems this year. If you suggest them to travel and stay overseas in case they can, they should leave the place where they are. So that will be helpful for them. Your father can have some sudden break in his career. He loses his job, and then maybe his health deteriorates. So you have to be taking care, because from the 9th house, Ketu is transiting in the 8th house, that is the 4th house. So because of this, the mother's health also deteriorates, and your father's health also suffers. You can be very creative this time, and very ambitious also at the place of work. You have that zeal, but this Rahu, gives a lot of desires, but do these desires get fulfilled? It is a slowdown, actually. It is like, bringing about a lot of energies, but you're not able to utilize these energies. It's because of this Rahu energy, superseding. And it is looking at the Karaka, the significator of career, Saturn. So it will bring about some slowdown, some delays and confusion at the place of work as well. As it is, in the Kendras, when the malefics are transiting, they bring about some changes. Suddenly you will feel that you don't want to be in this profession, you want to leave this profession, you're very obsessed about your career, you want that growth. I will be giving the dates where you have to be cautious in my next video. Some new job can come up for the children in case they have to, they are grown up and they're looking for some new job, some change of a job. So they can be going in for that switch. It's going to be positive next year. Coming to the next sign, that is Virgo. All right, for Virgo people, Rahu is transiting the trine, that is the 9th house of yours. And 9th house is the luck house. Rahu will not let you follow the right path. It wants you to earn through the unfair means. It wants you to do some, go in for some shortcuts. It is illusion, delusion, confusion. It magnifies the area where it sits. Definitely. So once in a lifetime, I've seen with people having this 9th house Rahu, they go through the loss of their reputation, the name and fame. So with this Rahu in the 9th house, you have to be making the best use of it in a better way, rather than, going in for a shorter route. Don't be too obsessive about your things, or the material growth. You will any which ways attain that. Rahu is looking at Saturn. Saturn is the significator for profession. It's going to impact your workplace, your relationship with the co-workers. It's going to be giving some problems with the staff members, your junior staff, your subordinates. You will have some confusion and misunderstanding often. You have to be taking care of that. There can be some problems related to you between your siblings and your father. There can be some clashes, or your father's health suffers. So take care of your father's health also. Till the time Jupiter is there in your 5th house, if you are thinking of conception or childbirth. So when Jupiter leaves this zone of the 5th house and goes to the 6th, before to that, I think you should be, that is before the April month, plan your family. It's better. See, it's not that after Jupiter goes, there won't be childbirth happening, but it is advisable that conceive during the time when Jupiter is in your fifth house and Rahu is looking at the zone. Thankfully, Jupiter is also looking at Rahu. So this is mellowing down the energies of Rahu also. But at the same time, we are supposed to be careful when Rahu is looking at the fifth house. There can be problems to the children or problems from the children. Children can become lazy. They can be procrastinating things. They might not have interest in their education, in their studies, or they have some confusion as to where to go, which university to join, what subjects to take. This will bring about a lot of confusion to them. For your financials, you will become obsessive. You will be working very hard. You'll be slogging and you want to, and for your relationships also, you will be becoming very obsessed. So focus on the better things and the immediate things in life. That should be the goal for the next year for you. There can be some health issues to you and to your partner also, or there can be clashes amongst you two because of the Ketu transiting the third house. Disputes regarding your real estate issues or some fixed assets that you are in, or some litigation. There can be problems in relationships often. So you have to maintain that equilibrium. You have to maintain that cordiality also, that balance with your neighbors, siblings. You can have that tiff with them also during this next year, coming year. So be careful. Coming to the next sign, that is Libra. All right, for Libra people, Rahu is transiting your eighth house and Ketu in your second. Rahu is going to be looking at your fourth house. So this will give some problems related to your real estate matters. You have to be little cautious in driving. If you have to purchase any land or property, you might have some documentation issues. Be careful. This will give you some health issues, respiratory issues also. Be careful about that. Headaches often. So you have to keep your checkups done constantly, next year. In relationship also, you have to be very careful. Maybe you will convey something and something else is understood. There is a lot of misunderstanding and miscommunication, or often during this Rahu looking at your family house, house of happiness. So this is getting impacted with the Kantak Shani also, because Saturn is in your fourth house, which is called the Kantak Shani, and Rahu is looking here. So there will be a lot of confusion amongst your family members. So make sure that you don't pick up any kind of arguments. Student natives might be leaving their place where they are and going to somewhere else. Shifting out, or maybe getting some overseas connectivity. They are leaving their place of birth and they are moving away from that, quite likely. There can be some problems to your uncles also, communication issues with your uncles or your aunts. So just give me a feedback in case you are having these kind of issues, because Saturn is looking at the zone and Rahu is looking at Saturn. So there can be some confusion, or there can be confusion in your, maybe you've given some loans to them, so it is difficult for them to repay you. That is quite likely. And from the seventh house, Ketu is transiting the second house zone. So this is not a good placement, and it can bring about communication gap in your relationships, and there can be a break in relationship also. Make sure that you take care of your head region, your teeth, your mouth. Eat proper, because you can have some problems related to your gums, your ENT issues, often with Ketu in the second house. There's a lot of affliction on the Pisces sign, because Saturn is looking, Ketu is looking. So you have to be taking care of the people you are getting connected with, your co-workers. You can have some miscommunication often. Be careful. Your day-to-day routine, you have to plan them well. Your financials, you have to set your goals. Okay, I need to do this, because once you leave the goals that you have set, you will have problems, in achieving them. Don't be lazy, don't procrastinate. Do things which are going to be positive for you. Okay, coming to the next sign, that is Scorpio. All right, for Scorpio people, Rahu is transiting your seventh house and Ketu your first. This brings about confusion, suspicion in your relationship often. Do not get carried away by the outer influence. Maybe you get attracted to some other person, and this brings about problems in your current relationship. So be careful. your some hidden kind of a secret kind of a romance or secret kind of a relationship that can surface, and people get to know about it. So be careful. Next year you have to be. There can be problems with your siblings also, because Rahu is looking at this Saturn in your third house zone. And Saturn is actually not bad in the third house, but it will give some kind of misunderstandings with your siblings, because Rahu is the winner, as I said initially, is the winner next year, is the one who is who's superseding all the energies. So here, it can be a problematic phase for selling off the property or the land that you want to. You will not get the kind of money you're looking at. Problems to the student natives, conception issues. You can have problems in your mother's health also. So all the negatives I'm saying, so that I'm just forewarning you. uh, Good things everybody says, isn't it? So I must say what I see. So what I'm seeing is that there is a confusion amongst your friend circle. Do not depend on your investments or making money out of capital market. Do not go overboard in your investments. Rahu is approaching towards all the planets and Ketu is separating. So that is why there is a slow poisoning happening in the chart. So you have to be extra careful. There are certain hidden secrets which are going to surface. It's a phase of sudden losses, sudden gains. You might feel that people around you are backstabbing you. If you are planning to get married, this will maybe delay. It might frustrate you even more. Travels might be frustrating also. Investments you have to make huge, but the profits are not that huge. So you have to balance things, because in the Kendra, when Ketu and Rahu are transiting, they're going to be bringing about major changes. Chemistry between you and your partner is going to change depending upon your personal chart, the dasha that you're running, of course, and then comes lastly the transit. So make sure that your relationship with your siblings improves rather than getting deteriorated. You have to take care of your lower abdominal region. Some gallbladder issue or appendicitis you have to be taking care of. And it's better to go in for some investments overseas. That will be good. Startups is not the right time for that. Okay. Coming to the next sign, Sagittarius. Right, for Sagittarius people, Rahu is going to be looking at the Saturn in your second house and Ketu is in your 12th. So this brings about some fluctuations in your bank balance, in your savings. You might be thinking of getting some loans or getting sanctioned a few things that you have already planned, the financials, but that is not happening so soon. There is a lot of delay. Maybe before April things work out your way, but after that there will be again a slow and a gradual process for things to happen. So you have to be taking care of your health, lower abdominal region. You have to take care of your head region, your teeth region. Any real estate related issues might come up as a problem area of life. Delays, frustrations, documentation issues, you will have come across all these. It's very frustrating at times, but one thing good about it is that if you want some loans, you will get it. If you have some enemies, you will be able to defeat or overcome them. You will get to know who's who. You will get a lot of clarity during this Rahu looking at the Saturn. There are a lot many things you will get support from, but do not depend on the people especially your uncles, your aunts, your friends, or your even your bosses. Do not depend on their advice. Think logically and then make the decisions. And there can be some confusion in your relationship also. So be careful if you have to make decisions regarding a breakup or being in a relationship, there's a confusion. So I think you should just take it easy. Especially after April month, you have to be extra cautious, I would suggest. All right. Take care and you will sail through this as well. All right, for Capricorn people, Saturn is in your first house and is getting afflicted because of Rahu's aspect. That is why Rahu is the strongest planet in the sky next year. So Saturn is the Karmakara. Saturn is the significator for your work, your profession, your career. So Rahu will give some confusion or the other in making decisions at the workplace. You are looking forward to your growth, your reputation, but this Rahu is going to be a demoralizing factor. So you have to be prepared. There are certain good things about this year, that Jupiter is with Saturn till April, and after September onwards again it will be going back to the sign. So if you have to make any decisions regarding change of place, change of work, childbirth, getting into any kind of litigation you have to initiate, or you have to take loans, so you should be doing it only after Jupiter is back in the sign of Capricorn, or before to that, maybe before April month. That will be favorable. You will not get help from your friends, the known people, your bosses. They will not be that helpful to you. You will feel that whatever you're doing, you're not being appreciated. There will be confusion amongst you and your partner, your romance. You will have confusion there. If you're single, it's better to focus on yourself more, on your health, on your growth prospects during this time. Rahu in the fifth house will give problems in the childbirth also. You might have to break up from the relationship you're in because of misunderstandings. So if you're prepared, if you can sail through this phase, you will be actually successful. You can be very artistic. You can grow in your designing work. It is very good for performing arts, artistic bent of mind, creativity. It's good. You will be thinking out of the box, unconventional manner. So this Rahu is good there. Investments is not a good idea right now, but yes, after certain transit positions, I will be telling you off and on when you can go in for investments, then do it. But right now in the year 2021, I would say don't indulge in capital markets, stocks, shares, crypto too much. Don't go overboard, because Rahu energy is predominant and Ketu is in your 11th house of gains, so you will lose a lot of money also. From the fourth house, Ketu is transiting the 11th house, which is eighth. So your mother can have some problems, real estate issues you can have. Selling of the property will be a problematic phase. From the 10th, Rahu is in the 8th house, that is the 5th house. So you can have problems and in your career. There can be some reputation, loss of reputation, lack of name and fame, lack of dignity at the place of work. You will not be recognized at the place of work for whatever you're doing. So be prepared for that, and you will sail through this phase. We are heading to eclipses also next year. We are having Kaal SARPA also twice active till March, April. We are having Kaal SARPA also. Be cautious. Do not go overboard in making decisions regarding your love life, related to your real estate and assets, whatever you have to decide about. Litigation, loans, these things you have to be extra cautious about. Okay, so just a forewarning. Take care. All right, for Aquarius people, Rahu is transiting your fourth house and Ketu your 10th, and Saturn is in your 12th house. So in case you are already in a foreign land, so you will have some problems there, or maybe you have to change where you are. The change is anticipated with Rahu Ketu transiting through the Kendras, as it is, the quadrants. So you have to be prepared where you are. You're going to be leaving that place and you're changing. Okay, depending upon your dasha, of course, and what are the planetary positions in your natal chart, your birth chart. But here, if I see the transits only, you will have problems with your mother. You can have problems with your bosses, your seniors. You will have relationship issues. Maybe, you are thinking of getting married, but things are getting postponed. Delays are there, frustrations are there. So your life is actually going to be on a roller coaster ride, I would say, because it's a Sadesati also. I'll be making a separate video on Sadesati also through D12 as committed very soon. So this is going to be bringing about some problems in the foreign sectors or with the foreign clients, and you can have problems with your siblings. Maybe selling of the property is a big time issue, or you get problems in selling off your property also. Real estate matters are going to be very difficult. Purchasing of a vehicle might become a problem. Documentation issues can come up. You can have problems at the place of work. From the ninth house, Rahu is in the eighth house, transiting the eighth house. So father will have some undiagnosed disease. If at all you are on the family way, this can bring about some problems, education problem, because there is a break which is possible with Rahu transiting your fourth house and looking at Saturn also from there. So maybe you are thinking of going overseas to study. That is a good idea. Till the time Jupiter is conjunct Saturn, it's a good idea and you will get successful also. But be careful, once after April till September, Jupiter will be coming out of the 12th house. So that can create some problems and some, confusion there as well. You might become very lazy in taking decisions. You might procrastinate things. Good for artistic bent of mind. In case you have to, you're very imaginative. Good for art, acting, designing, mass media. All these are going to be successful. But at the same time, there are problems that I can see at the place of work. Maybe some bosses might change. You're not focusing more on the work this year. So you have to be focused and you have to rise rather than just losing hope. Okay. Things will improve. Don't worry. Things are going to be improving. All right. For Pisces, the last sign. Rahu is transiting your third house and looking at Saturn in the 11th. So there can be problems with the siblings, older, younger siblings. You can have problems, confusion. There can be confusion in your relationship with your friends. You will not get that kind of help or, some kind of support that you're looking forward to from your friend circle or the circle you're moving around in. Maybe with your boss, you will have some problems often. There is a lot of confusion there as well. And there can be some problems related to your health. Take care of your siblings' health. In case you are thinking of changing the place of a board, there can be some problems there as well. It's not considered to be good to get into a relationship right now, or if you are already in a relationship, there will be a lot of confusion. There can be that you do not get along well with the person in the current relationship you're in. Too much of too much of fights, too much of quarrels, too much of confusion. So you have to take a call, I think, now. The equilibrium is missing. So you have to strike a balance. Fulfillment of desires is not possible this year because Saturn is in your 11th house. Thankfully, Jupiter is a saving grace. Till the time Jupiter is there, you are going to be doing things for yourself and you will be making lots. It's good for financials also. But at the same time, getting connected with your own people might be a problematic, that can be an issue. You might not be able to convey what you want to. Financials can take a back seat. You're investing and you're not getting that kind of money that you wanted. Bank balance is coming down, so you have to be taking care of your income. Enhance your income rather than your expenditures. Cut down on your expenditures. There's a lot of expenditures going on. Ketu is also looking at your first house, so you can have headaches, you can have communication gap, speech issues, you can have some lower abdominal calf region, you can have pains also. So take care of your health as well. It can be that student natives are not gaining that kind of focus as they are looking at. So there can be some problems and confusion there as well. In your love life, there can be a break you're heading to, because Ketu is looking at the fifth house and it does give break. It's good for artistic bent of mind, something unconventional. You might just be creative. For that, it's good. But with all the configuration that I see, it's not going to be an easy delivery if you are already on a family way. So make sure that you get your timely checkups done. You feel that everything is normal, there is something which you have to focus on before your delivery. So this was my take on the Rahu aspecting Saturn. Saturn being the strongest is also losing its potency to give the results. There's a lot of confusion, so be careful before making any decisions, major decisions. Do not get into any kind of startups and go overboard, because that's an obsession. You might be obsessed with it, but at the end of the day, it's Rahu energy. So make sure that you be wise during this whole year. Stay blessed, everyone. Om Tat Sat.